Hi, I'm Kent Nichols. I'm an agronomy field sales manager and also function as seed manager. So day to day, I work with the agronomy sales staff east of I-135 and work with the seed department in managing that. Projects that we chose for the CCD program when we had interns in the program were projects that we thought would be beneficial for the company, that we could utilize elsewhere in the company. So one of the projects that we did recently was a mode of action project. We had 2 assistant field marketers that were here during the school year. One, it gave them an opportunity to learn within what modes of actions in chemistry, but then we could utilize that for new people that we hired, whether that would be an assistant agronomy manager, a new field marketer, or other people within the company to better understand how modes of actions of herbicides work. By doing the project, they got a much better in-depth knowledge of modes of actions. They also got practice on training people. But the biggest thing was they figured out how to go find information about herbicides, where to get information, who to contact. So they learned a lot about networking within the industry as well. So it was a really impactful project. The skills that I saw interns gain from the CCD program were networking with other individuals, understanding how to ask the right questions, know how tasks could get accomplished, and how to kind of timeline things out. One of the things that I think the CCD does a great job of is breaking projects down into segments so that they're not overwhelmed and they don't look at how do I get to an end result, and they make a roadmap of how to get there. And then they understand that if the roadmap changes along the way, it's okay. I think that's something that young people coming out of college sometimes struggle with, is when there's a setback, it's okay, that's not the end of the world. And maybe the end, where you thought the end was going to be, doesn't end up being the end. So I think those skills, while they're in school and they can learn those, I think it's been very valuable. So one of the interns that we had been an intern for us in the past, continued into the CCD program throughout his school year. And what I saw the benefit was when he started within MKC, you could tell that he'd already been ingrained into the culture, kind of knew what we wanted, some of the base skills to be. And really, he was able to take on a role within MKC probably 5 to 6 months sooner than any other of the employees that we had. Now, some of that is, based upon the skills that they already possessed and the education that they came with, but it did speed up the process for him to be placed full-time within MKC. Some advice that I would give interns as they enter into the workforce: don't be afraid to ask questions. I think one of the things that sometimes when you're new and you're starting, you don't want to ask questions because you're afraid that you should already know the answer. And what I always say is, within the first 6 months of starting something, ask all the questions you can, because there's no dumb question. After 6 months, if you ask some of the simple questions, then people probably start to wonder, why don't you know this already? So I've always said, ask anything that you want, and that way you learn. So what I gained by being the mentor to the interns through the CCD program was I understood their personality better. We put them all through a personality index. I knew some of their strengths and weaknesses already, knew how they wanted to maybe interact more, but I got to know them probably more on a personal level when it's a little bit slower. As soon as you graduate from college and you go into the workforce, everything's busy, and we don't take the time to learn some of these things over a 6-month period. And you get to do that maybe through the CCD program, where them being able to learn some of the soft skills and me being part of that, it built a lot more teamwork. It built a lot of trust, I think, between us and the intern within the CCD program. So all of those have been very positive as being a mentor.